Good afternoon, and welcome to another version of Invitation to a Conversation. And due because of Black History Month, today we have a young historian online with me. Her name is LaShawnda Hough. LaShawnda is 31 years old. She has a 2-year-old daughter. She graduated from Heritage Christian Academy in Brunswick, and she went to college at the University of West Georgia in Carleton. She's interested in pursuing a degree in political science or anthropology,
Apology.
anthropology, and hopefully one day starting a nonprofit focusing on helping single mothers and racial justice. How you doing today, Ms. Huff?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I met you on Facebook, and I was interested in having you on the show because a lot of your posts are true to facts and they can be controversy, but they're also thought provoking. And so I just wanted to have you on today as somebody new in the community for Black History Month. Thank you for accepting my invitation to a conversation.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. You said you were born in 1989. And because this is Black History Month, my first question is, I would like to say, what happened in your life growing up that made a profound impact of you being interested in the ongoing effects of Black lives?
Um, Growing up, I think I was pretty sheltered, and um, there was a lot of things that I didn't learn until I got to college. When I was 18, I'm an only child, so it was just me in the country, um, and learning the things that I didn't know really affected me emotionally. And when I was 23, that's when Trayvon Martin got killed in February 2012. And watching all of that unfold, it just it motivated me to see a change, because when he got killed, I saw, my brother, my cousin, um, you know,
Can you remember what you were doing that particular day and how you heard the news and how it affected you initially?
um, I think I was just home. Um, and one of my friends might have told me about it. I don't necessarily remember um what I was doing, but I remember how I felt. Like I was shocked, because during the trial he was portrayed as a man, and the way that, with the hoodie and everything, like I wear hoodies, you know what I mean? So it I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Like, the man that killed him was, what, 28, and he was 17. It was like 26, or in there somewhere, and he was 17. you know like, at 17, you're not a man, at least in my opinion. They're not an adult. Most 17-year-olds don't have a lot of adult responsibilities. So just portraying him that way, like he's just this force to be reckoned with, was devastating for me.
How did you, how did you, how did you, how did you focus during the trial? How did it make you feel being a young Black female, knowing that now not only is our skin a target, but what we wear also is a target? such as the hoodie, the hoodies, whatever hoodie jacket or whatever.
Um, I think it woke me up to a lot of things. Because I was sheltered, so I like I endured some types of racism, but like most of my friends were all doing the same thing. We're all wearing the same type of clothes. We're all, listening to the same type of music and things like that. And just finding out that basically in America, you can be killed just for being Black. You can be killed because you're Black and wearing a hoodie. You're Black and listening to music. You're Black and, being in the wrong neighborhood or being in the wrong place, the places you're not supposed to be. When we live everywhere too. Like we're involved too. So how is this not my neighborhood? How do you know this isn't my neighborhood?
And now that you're not a young teenager, you're a young woman, you have a daughter, a 2-year-old daughter. How do you view how did you view Black America prior to the pandemic?
Um Prior to the pandemic, I think I was bordering on depression because it felt I was spiraling watching the news every day. And the things that I was waking up to, it seemed like every day there was a new case, there was a new, person that was murdered. And I was tired of seeing people. I was like, I made a post. I was like, I'm tired of seeing people that look like me being murdered on a daily basis. Like it makes it feel unsafe. Like I can't go outside. And now I have a child who I'm gonna have to teach how to live strictly based off the fact that she's Black, because it wasn't just Black men, you know. Like at first we're like, okay, we have to protect our men, we have to protect our sons, and then woman, 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 and I'm like, well, I'm a Black woman, I'm a little questioning, if I get pulled over for no reason, I don't just say, okay, well, you were right, because I have questions. I want to know things. And you're just going to drag me away because I feel like you're not doing your job properly.
And during the pandemic, prior to the pandemic, we were also protesting the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. And so because of the pandemic has really gotten bad and heightened in our community, where do you see Black America uh, once this pandemic is over, and how are they thriving through the pandemic?
Um, I see, I'm very optimistic for Black America. Um, as far as being in Brunswick and the Ahmaud Arbery case, there's been no let up, no let up. Um, since the protest started, it's just been a constant flow of um, concern and information, and a fight for justice. And seeing that, and having Brunswick as an example for other people to follow is very heartening. It like I can feel the strength in our community. We protested here and there weren't any riots, nothing got burned down. Um it's just like people want to know. People want to know what happened. People want to know why it happened, how to fix it, how can we make sure it never happens again. And that's not just Black people. That's everyone has come together to ensure justice, and it's it's very uplifting.
Um, as you know, throughout our history, every so many generations did protest, and we did fight against racism, socialism, economic justice, and all those other things. Um, do you think that because of where we at, the atmosphere of racism in the world today, that it is open, it's a conversation, it's seen everywhere? Do you think that people after this pandemic, now this once again, when they're not so closed in with family and friends, that they will keep this energy, that we will continue on this journey? Do you think this journey of the change or the progression of Black America will die once this pandemic is over? Or do you think it will be still instilled with us and we will just continue it on?
Um, I have a great inclination that it will continue. Like, all the pandemic is doing is giving people an opportunity to learn as much as they can, figure out what they can do as much as they can, help as much as they can. Um, because people from all walks of life, and it's slowed down. But I don't see it stopping. I don't see it stopping. Like, as long as it takes, me personally, I'm gonna do whatever I can. I'm gonna fight as long as I have to, because it's not just about me anymore. You know, my daughter deserves uh, a space in America, a safe space, and she deserves a full chance to grow up and make it, and as everyone does.
You are familiar with an organization called Rednecks for Black Lives. Can you explain that organization?
Well, it's an organization that was started by Southern Crossroads, um, and it's the I don't want to say premise, like the function of it is to provide environments for people of different walks of life and color to come together, in the rural South, for racial justice, because it's happened before. And I don't feel like we have a lot of examples out here, but historically, um, I think right now, um, a lot of people are coming together because a lot of people have fear and they want to know how to fix the world that we live in. And the term rednecks comes from, in Blair Mountain, when coal miners wanted to start a union, and they came up against a lot of forces that didn't want a union for capitalism's sake, like the local police, the government, and whites, blacks, Asians banded together to fight for their rights. And the white coal miners wore red bandanas, to let people know that they were pro union, to separate themselves from the white racists in the community.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Without the basic or the common necessities that Black Americans need to live a sustainable lifestyle, what are the top three things for you that you think Black America needs to do to go forward without sliding backwards, to sustain a sustainable lifestyle in America?
Um, the one thing I think would be, um, showcasing more examples of survival and endurance, versus what we went through, what happened to us. Like, trying to stay on a positive note and showcasing joy um, and achievements. You know, I think this is a great opportunity for anyone um, who's inquisitive, because we have a lot of accomplishments in the Black community um, now, and 50 years ago, 60 years ago, even before. And I think just saying, you know, well, we were slaves, we deserve this. Like, no, we slaves? We were slaves, but we were also doctors and, you know, mothers, sisters, fathers, brothers. And I think the narrative that we just acquiesced and we just bent to the rule is is false. Like, we've been fighting since we were taken, and we're still fighting. And I think it's important to show that. We have accomplishments through fighting, through redlining, through segregation, through the destructions of our communities, the murder of our people. We're still fighting.
On your post recently, you had a phrase that said, knowledge doesn't have an expiration date. When you posted that, what was on your mind for you to feel that was needed to be said?
I also think, like, one of the things that we need um, to continue going forward is knowledge from the people before us, from our predecessors. And um, it's never too late to learn. It's never too late to read an article. I think nowadays people are stuck on authenticity and excuse me. And like this article's this girl told me this article that I shared was 2 years old, and I was like, well, knowledge has no expiration date. Like, you can always pick up a book, you can always read an article, you can always listen, and it doesn't cease to be fundamental.
And it's like the Bible, how you read a scripture when you were younger and perceived it is not how you're going to perceive it once you lived life a little bit more and you read that same scripture again. You will identify it in a different light, in a different understanding. Recently, there was a school during Black History Month where the principal gave the parents the option to opt their children from Black History uh, class or moments that the school was having. Are you familiar with that article? Did you read it, and how did you feel about it?
Yes, I believe it happened in Utah, and I think it it confused me because, for one, we're in Black History Month. So sorry. So why what I'm sorry. It's very confusing. It's very confusing. I hadn't thought much on it, because I feel like people that want to learn are going to make an effort. And as children, we might not make an effort like that in school, and it's up to our parents to teach us. And knowing that racism is a thing, racism is real, it has real effects, and that learning about other cultures and other people's histories can help to eradicate it. And saying that, having a woman of color for vice president, and we're making all these progressions, and then giving parents the option to take their children out of something that can help them grow up more holistically and having an understanding is, it's confusing to me. I don't get it.
It will be shocking because, um, you know, some of those white children went to school all their lives with some of these, Black children in this school, maybe, from elementary to high school, and they were even friends. And maybe they told their parents that they had Black friends, and maybe they didn't. But to the parents to have the option and maybe tell one of the students, look, it's Black History Month, and I don't need you to learn that history because this is the history that you are learning is what it is. And so I would think that would be traumatizing to that situation, because when you see little kids in preschool or first grade or elementary school, color is not part of their identification to who they're going to play with. So it is definitely taught.
Yeah. And also we can't opt out of white history.
Right.
We can't, Black history is American history. It shouldn't be like a month in a classroom. It should be included every day. So the fact that it's not included every day makes it that more important to learn. Plus the fact that we can't go in there and say, we don't want to learn about George Washington today.
No matter what era, no matter what happened, pre-Reconstruction, after Reconstruction, Civil War, prior to Civil War, we can always be inserted in a part of history that we were left out of. Um, Recently, a senator made a statement that to Black America, saying that Black America, slavery is over. Get over it. What's your thoughts on that?
It's still going on. It never stopped. I don't mean to smile. Like, it's not necessarily funny, but it's just, I just don't understand how people can continue saying that. We have for-profit prisons. We work for wages that we can't survive. We have to choose between gas bills and water bills, or food and clothes, and we don't have health care. And I read an article where there were people in America who were slaves in 1960 because they were stuck on plantations that they didn't have access to television. It just continued generationally, and having a lack of education in our communities. Like, when did it stop?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Slavery might be over physically for us, but it's embedded into us mentally and spiritually. So we won't ever forget it, even
Yeah.
though we didn't live during that time. Um, how did the denial of reparations hurt white America intentionally or unintentionally? Do you think that the denial of reparations affected white people?
Um, I do. I think it created a competition for the already poor white Americans. And it kickstarted capitalism, like, as in the sense that we're in now. Because during slavery, the Black people were the capital. The Black people were considered money as well. Like, we're not just free labor where people use Black bodies to get loans from the bank. So after slavery was ended, then now we have to find a way to continue a way of revenue as cheap as possible. And you can't just assign it to the Black community. It's going to trickle down. It's going to affect all elements that don't include the elitist class. And but we're going to continue the narrative that white people are superior, or we're better than, or like that, that Black people aren't as good as us, and that divides the classes. So it keeps them apart, because the misunderstandings and the fear of the unknown and all the propaganda breeds hate. And that's all that's needed to continue capitalism, to continue the systems that we have that keep everyone down, not just Black people, everyone. And I think just saying it's just those people over there, it how are we going to get anywhere if we can't find a way to come together?
Um, when people describe race now, it was always black, white, minorities. But now they say black, brown. Who's brown?
Um, I think right now, I'd say it used to be black and white, but brown people came about, from, you could say, immigration. But I think having the whole story, having the whole narrative, um, of where lighter mixtures came from, the reason why we're all not different shades is because Black people were raped, you know, um, and forced to mix that way.
So are you saying that black is a defining name for mixed race people
Um,
or for
I,
biracial people? Correction, please, biracial people.
I would say I would, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Um, we're all we're all in this together. We're all in the same class. We're all the same color. I don't think um, saying brown makes a broad distinction away from being Black. You still, regardless of what shade you are, you're getting the same treatment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how light you are, how dark you are. Um, Studies do show that the darker you are, um, the worse it can get for you. But we're all Black in my book. I People like to be politically correct, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. But we're all a people.
Um, as you know, we recently lost an icon in the entertainment world, Cicely Tyson. Um, are you, well, no, are you familiar with her? What is your favorite Cicely Tyson movie? And what do you think that she left on Black America?
Um, my favorite Cicely Tyson movie is the autobiography of Jane Pittman. Um, it it bridged the gap between slavery and the civil rights movement, um, and it showcases the fact that there's over 150 slave narratives that were written down during her time. It's a movie about she's 110 years old, and she goes to a segregated water fountain to protest after she hears that a young girl went to the fountain to protest and she ended up getting arrested. And I just like having a generation to back up my generation um is it's uplifting and it gives me hope. I think
Um, do you okay? What do you think she left on Black America? What kind of spirit or her accolades to the entertainment world?
um for me, I love seeing her in movies. Like it didn't matter what movie because when she spoke, it was like you can feel it in your soul when she speaks. And I think she portrayed strength, determination, wisdom, um, and just the a never ending spirit. You know, like because whenever somebody was down or going off or something, she would pop up. She'd be there. She'd be like, "No," you know, and it,
She would give them food for thought. She would make
yeah,
them feel comfort to get through what they're going through because it's only for a moment in time.
yeah.
Because this is Black History Month and we have a week and a couple of days left in it, I'm gonna give you a chance to have shine a short Black History moment for our viewing audience. And what would it be your Black History moment that you would want to educate us on?
Um, uh, I think it's hard for me to pick.
Hmm.
Um, I think for right now, my most highlighted Black History moment is when Kamala Harris was inaugurated. Having a woman of color in the Oval Office is it's exciting. It's you know, it's it gives me a drive that I didn't know was deep in there. Like seeing someone that looks like me in the office, seeing someone that my daughter can look up to, and that day was so inspiring. It was so amazing seeing everyone come together. Like people were dancing all over the world. You know.
Um, what is your favorite scripture, phrase, or testimony that keeps you grounded?
Um, well, I picked three. I'll try to go fast.
Take your time. Take your time.
Okay. Um, because it changes for me so much.
I
Um,
understand.
but right now, I'm on James Baldwin, hardcore. I love him. Um, and one of the his quotes that I'm sticking with right now is I I can't believe what you say because I see what you do.
Mm,
Not about what it's not about what people say. You have to look at their actions and make sure they're consistent. And a phrase that I'm saying right now, and at first it was negative. The other night I was driving and almost got hit by a semi truck, and so I was very upset, and I didn't let him hit me. Like there was a moment where he could have hit me, and so after that I was like, well, so you chose to live. You chose to live for this. And I think for me at first it was negative, but I turned it into a positive because there's so much out here for Black people. There's so much out here and there's so much to live for. And I think knowing that I had a hand in deciding to be here and be a part of
mm.
it was very empowering for me. And also, I invoke the Fifth Amendment. is Paul Robeson. Um, I saw a video of him the other day, and I love how he speaks. I love how he speaks. Like he's calm. He doesn't yell, and he gets his point across. And he's very serious.
Okay, okay. Um, thank you for this invitation, accepting my invitation. And what would you like to leave uh, to various demographic of people listening to this video that you can let them know something about Black America that edifies us for Black History Month?
I think the most important thing to know about Black America is we endure no matter what happens. I think we have a common thing, of a theme of coming together and staying strong for each other. Um, I think an important thing for Black America, all of America at this point to do, to solidify change would be supplicating your children's education. If you're a parent and you don't know what to do and you think, well, how can I help Black people? Teach your children as much of the truth as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Give them opportunities to debate and question why our system is the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe look at why Black Americans feel how they feel instead of, jumping on the defensive. I think it's important for everyone to supplement their kids' education because there's so many examples of kids in school getting shut down and being taught explicitly the wrong narrative for the advancement of the system that we're currently in.
Thank you, Ms. Hough. Um, this was a very good conversation. I learned a lot about you and the information that must continue to flow through our community and throughout the world. Um, thank you for choosing to stay alive. You're needed here. God's not done with you yet. Um, and continue to have a blessed weekend, and you take care.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome.